say, would you curse a newborn child?
Hi everybody, welcome to the Tossed and Found Workshop. My name is Al Hamilton, and today we're going to go over how to make a cigar box guitar. Just a simple 3-string cigar box guitar. Not going to be fancy, but it's going to be playable. It's going to sound good, and you can probably do it in about an hour or an hour and a half for your first one. The second one always goes a little bit faster. A lot of you may be wondering where the cigar box came from and its origins. Cigars actually came in big crates in the 1860s. The government found a way that they could tax them if they sold them in boxes of 50 or 100. The tax stamp on these boxes, you'll notice, is the blue band. That's the tax that the vendor paid. Of course, when you bought the whole box, you kept the box. It was often relegated for baseball cards or shop items or photos or just about anything. They were made of very fine wood. Some of them were made of American chestnut, poplar, walnut. Woods that today command a premium, they were just junk wood back in the day. People, they used the boxes for everything. Somewhere along the line, someone found that they could make a sound out of that box. And that's the true beginnings of the cigar box guitar. What you're going to do today is we're going to put together a cigar box guitar, you and I. You're going to need a cigar box, obviously. You're going to need a neck, a set of strings, and you can use a set of tuners. You can scavenge them off an old guitar. And then you'll have all the accessories to kind of brighten it up or make it yours, make it personal. You got to understand that if you want to go buy a stock guitar, you and everybody else is going to have one just like it. You build one of these, the best enjoyment I have is when I'm playing one and someone says, "Where did you buy that?" And I say, "I built it." And the look on their face. And that's what you're going to get today, a step-by-step, simple, easy way to build a 3-string cigar box guitar. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick out our box, which I picked out an American Allen Bradley box. And you're going to measure, of course this is going to be the way your guitar is oriented, so you're going to measure for center on the end of your box. This one measures out at 6.5, so center would be 3 1/4, and you see I've put a mark there. Then I measure 3/4 of an inch out each way to accommodate my neck. Then I measure down approximately 1 inch, and you can see my mark right there. And this is the area that I'm going to cut out.
I got this tattoo of you way back in '44. It's just a young sailor heading to a bloody war. Oh, the tattoo was amazing. You were looking so fine. You have flowers in your hair.
A lot of you folks might be wondering, where can I get the wood for my neck? You can get oak and poplar at your home supply stores, Home Depot, Lowe's. Home Depot I like because you can buy it by the inch, so you're not buying any more or any less than what you need. I have a varied sources of wood. I go to the Restore, which is a Habitat for Humanity store. I actually picked up this gorgeous piece of Purple Heart. I don't know if you can see the color, but it's a beautiful piece of wood. It comes out of Africa and makes purple sawdust, and it's heavy. I mean, it is thick. This piece is walnut. We actually bought this out of We bought this piece. It was huge, out of a garage sale, and cut it down. The lady was cleaning out the garage. I looked up above in the rafters, and there was all this walnut wood, and I got all the wood for like 25 bucks. I can show you. So here's some cherry that I traded some hardware for with a friend of mine. This is also a form of walnut. This is actually off the back of a mirror that was being thrown away. So there are tons and tons and tons of places that you can find wood. Look up in garages, look down, look at things a different way. I actually built a violin out of a piece from a couch that was being thrown out. Always look at things a different way when you're building cigar box guitars, because you never know when you may be able to use a certain piece of wood. I've used just a real cheap hacksaw from Harbor Freight. They're like $2. I've cut through, as you can see, so that my neck will fit in. And it should be a fairly tight fit. And you can see exactly how it fits in there. Now you see there's a big gap here. Well, that's where our piece of walnut or our piece of pine or whatever you choose to use is going to go in to bring that level up for your fretboard. Our next step, I've inserted the neck the whole way into the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where the neck meets the box. That's going to give me a guide as to where I'm going to glue my fretboard on to this neck. So I'm going to take my piece of walnut that I've had forever, and I'm going to make sure that it gets glued right up against that mark. Now you see it overhangs a little bit. That's okay. We can cut that. You can cut that off with a razor knife, or you can sand it down if you have a sander. You don't need all sorts of special tools to do this. I use a sander because it's quicker, but I've done it with a razor knife as well. What I use to glue it on with is I use super glue. Just the super glue gel from the store. It's, I think, $2 for 2 tubes of it, and 1 tube is the perfect amount. So let's go ahead and do that. What I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to find out where I want it cut at. So I'm going to guess about right there. Remember, there aren't any rules. I've already marked where my tuners are going to go, as you can see. There's no rules. I think right there's a pretty good number. So I'm going to take a handy dandy hacksaw again, and I'm just going to cut it. Save all your scraps. You never know when you'll need it. So we've got that done. We've got it cut. I leave the rough edges on because I'm going to sand it down anyway. I take a couple of my clips. These are cheap, 99 cents a piece. Harbor Freight, Lowe's, any of the home supply stores has them. And I'm going to take my super glue gel. And again, you can buy them by the I buy them by the gross. So all I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can get that on there, just apply a liberal amount down to where you think it's going to end. I just use the whole tube. I match my line up with where it's going to go for in the box, and I take my clamps, put it on, and here's where it becomes a little tricky because it will want to slide on you a little bit, but you can never have too many clamps on there. And the best thing you can do with that is just leave it alone. Go walk away, go grab a drink, or work on your box, or do something else, because just let it dry. you might be wondering when the first cigar box instrument was made. Well, we don't really know. But there's a woodcut from about 1863 that shows a prisoner, a Civil War prisoner, in Andersonville prison playing a cigar box violin. A lot of your rock and blues and country legends started out on a cigar box guitar. Blind Willie Johnson, B.B. King, Jimi Hendrix. And now you'll be able to build one and become a legend yourself playing a cigar box guitar. They're simple and easy to do. That brings us to today. The cigar box guitar culture, the cigar box guitar revolution, whatever you want to call it. I started playing because I like Blind Willie Johnson. I started building because I like Blind Willie Johnson. I saw my friend, the great Heel. He was playing on a video on YouTube. I never saw his face, just saw his hands. And I got a hold of him. I said, I think I can build one for you that's better looking than the one you have. And I did. And it's, I learned more by my mistakes and in front of that workbench about myself than I ever did about cigar box guitars. It's been about 5 years now I've been building, and I love it. I enjoy doing it. It's relaxation for me. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to put a hole so that the sound can come out of the box into your cigar box. I just use a regular old hole saw. You can use a step bit. You can use a hole saw. I've seen people just cut an F hole in it, like on a violin. It's what you want. I'm going to use a hole saw today, and just regular old cordless drill works, and tighten everything up. And of course, use your safety equipment, goggles and whatnot. So you find your area where you want it. It can be anywhere. I choose not to put it where the next one. Okay. If I'm building it to sell, I put it on the front. If I'm building it for me, I put it up here. That way I can hear it. See what I'm saying? There's no rules that says you have to put it anywhere. Kind of so you have a guide to know how far to go.
Right.
Oh, Mother Leeds, you spewing curses while we just say please. Oh, when they say no, make that monster kill. Make that monster kill today.
Put it on there the way you want it. Maybe give it a little twist. There you go. And then you leave it alone. Some of the things you're going to need to know is the terminology of a cigar box guitar. Of course, we have the cigar box. We have the neck. If you notice, the darker wood on here is what we're going to call your fretboard. It doesn't have frets on it, but we're going to call it your fretboard because it kind of brings your wood up to the level of the strings so that you can manhandle them and manipulate them better. The silver things here are your tuners. This is your nut, and this part here is your bridge. Those are the basic parts of a cigar box guitar. We can add more stuff to it to make it flashier or shinier or nicer, but those are the basic things that you're going to need. Strings, box, neck, tuners, a nut, and a bridge. So we've completed our box pretty much, and we're going to go back to our neck now. Been about 20 minutes. We've let it dry, and the glue is dried on there, so we can take our clips off. And you can see it's not going anywhere. The next step we're going to do is we're going to take this excess off. You can do that with a razor knife. You can do it with a saw. You can use a little hacksaw. You can use a razor knife. I have a sander, a belt sander, it rips it right off in a matter of no time. And as you can see, I've taken the excess right off of there and actually sanded down the edges of that walnut for a more comfortable fit. And we're going to go ahead and sand down the back of the neck so that when you play it, you're not getting splinters, and clean it all up basically so that it's comfortable for your hand. So we've gotten the neck somewhat sanded down to where we want it, and we're going to drill our holes for our tuners. These are sealed gear tuners. You can use ukulele tuners, you can use open gear tuners. I prefer the sealed gear tuners. They just go on a little bit quicker and easier. They're about $12 for a set of 6 of them from CB Giddy. You can also go to yard sales and find old guitars and scavenge them, and usually you can pick up an old beat up guitar for $5-10, you know, and you're still ahead of the game. So just gonna get our drill bit that matches the size of that flange, so we can put it right through. And anytime you're drilling, I recommend you put something to back it on, so that when your drill bit comes through, it doesn't crack the wood. And I'll show you that. I'll actually crack this piece of wood, and I'll show you that what happens if you don't do that. Have you noticed how that came a nice, real nice, clean cut through there? If you don't have something backing it, it will split the wood, and I'll show you. And you see how it splits the wood if you don't do that. What I usually do is these little sanding blocks. They're a couple dollars for 2 of them. Just take it, hit it with that, and it cleans it up quite nicely. So now we're almost ready.